Bill Belichick sits alone in a film room. He's not watching game film this time, but analysts spewing their hot takes over the past year. Belichick is a fraud. Tom Brady was the one who carried the Patriots to a dynasty. Did you see how badly they fared last year? These statements infuriate the Emperor. He must rebuild his once great dynasty. He's going to do it by paying top dollar to free agents on both sides of the ball. Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar. The return of Kyle Van Noy and Dante Hightower. Matthew Judon and Jalen Mills. There's a lot riding on this year, not just for the Patriots, but the narratives regarding Belichick. Cam Newton was still the starter here, until a convenient accident allowed the hoodie to take him out for the future in Mac Jones. Nothing stops this train. Not even the fucked up shoulders of former star QBs. Cam, meet Wally Pip. You have a shit ton more in common than you might think. The AFC seems to be top heavy again, but there's a ton of competition in the middle, and that's where the intrigue will come into play. The divisions seem relatively cut and dry. Buffalo wins the AFC East, Cleveland gets the AFC North, Tennessee claims the AFC South, and Kansas City locks up the AFC West. But for wildcards, there's an argument to be made for many teams. For the three I'm choosing, I'm going with Baltimore, Miami, and the Chargers. It was very tough to pick anyone who stands out in that regard. So I'm hoping for a really exciting AFC this season. I have a gut feeling another 10-win team isn't going to make the playoffs again. The Emperor against one of his many apprentices. If there are any coaches that know of Belichick's tricks, it's those from his coaching tree. They usually tend to win against him, even if it's in the homely confines of Gillette Stadium. Both teams know what they need to do with young quarterbacks. Force mistakes and keep the offensive flow methodical and precise. New England wasn't truly at fault. Mac Jones had a very strong debut, and Tua was looking vulnerable, but the Achilles heel of the Patriots? The fumble. It cost them significantly, despite statistical advantages. Belichick was struck down by the lightning of his own disciple yet again. Miami escapes the clutches of the Death Star and forces its destruction. The Patriots will rebuild, however. That has been guaranteed. Zach Wilson, you poor bastard. You thought the NFL was going to allow you the opportunity to compete. Your skills were going to shine. Guess what? The only highlight is going to be how you survive. Bill Belichick enjoys playing young QBs so much you could call him a pedophile. Anything the Jets did on offense would be snuffed out by the Patriots. 4 interceptions for Wilson on the day, 2 of them on his first 2 passes. You could see the man's confidence get destroyed in real time as New England gets pissy that their offense can't do much of anything. This should have honestly been uglier. Great tradition of beating the Jets continues. And now Wilson is probably seeing ghosts. I wonder how Darnold's doing in greener pastures. Sometimes the best laid plans go awry. In New England's case, they were flat out exposed by the Saints defense. Mac Jones got a rude welcome to the NFL. He was stymied by New Orleans Jazz. And if it wasn't him getting smacked around, his receivers were dropping everything like a drunk on Bourbon Street. I call that guy. Maybe he can help block for Mac. 2 critical picks send New Orleans on their way from the fated Death Star. Jameis's food truck has a new special replacing those delicious turnovers. Sugar powdered W's. It unfortunately doesn't have the same meme potential, but I think the Saints will take it. I'm not worried about Mac though. He had a rough game, it happens. I'm more concerned about everything else. Did you guys know that Tom Brady is returning to Foxborough this week? I don't think the media is reporting enough on this fantastic occasion. The duo that made us all dread the Shield reuniting for forced counseling sessions. You can just feel the awkward sexual tension between Belichick and Brady. They want to go at each other again, just like old times. But Brady is with another sugar daddy, and Belichick's chasing after younger tail. It wouldn't work. Neither would this game. A combination of the weather and overhype made this game as ugly to watch as Bill Belichick in a prom dress. Hey, I had to visualize that shit, you have to as well. No, Steven, don't expose your perversions in public, you sick fuck. You want to be a degenerate, choke out the Buccaneers offense. Even though that's not much of a challenge in these conditions, it's a very close game into the 4th. You could almost say Belichickian. That may not even be a word, but who fucking cares? Tom Brady broke the passing yard record that probably won't be broken for a few years. You know what could be broken, though? This lead that Tampa Bay gained on a field goal in crunch time. Speaking of reminiscing, do you remember when the Bucs always missed critical field goals to hilarious consequences? Wasn't one of those kickers Nick Folk?
On its way, it is off the goalpost. No good, you can hear the doink.
I didn't even have to add the ding in there. That was a majestic doink. Cody Parkey is now crying somewhere in a flight back to Cleveland after hearing that word uttered from a man's lips. It all worked out in the end. Tampa Bay wins. Patriots fans are pissed because they're entitled shits and Brady and Belichick had make-up sex in the locker room after the game. No wonder why those two didn't want to talk about it after the fact. How the hell do you let the Houston Texans do that to you? Really, New England? You spend all this money in the offseason on mercenaries to relive the days of empire and you're getting blown out like this? To a team that lost 40 to fucking nothing the previous week? General Mills launching touchdowns part of this complete breakfast? In what world does a team in the year 2021 get bamboozled by a flea flicker? Is Belichick losing touch of the game's trends? I know the bullshit narratives were forming before this, but I mean, it does happen to everyone. No one should give a shit that the Texans played Tuba Smarties as they blew another winnable game. I don't care that they won, the Patriots are in serious fucking trouble. If they're having problems with Houston, what the hell happens when they play legitimate opponents? Does Belichick drink orange juice on the sidelines or something? Get it together, boys. You can't play the Texans every week. Take the win and run. Imagine the Cowboys without a god-awful coach squatting down on their back every single week. They have incredible talent, that's never been the issue. The thing has always been that they've never had good coaching. Dallas has either had ass-kissers, coaches past their prime, or Mike McCarthy leading the way. Knowing McCarthy, all he took from Analytics 101 is to go for it on 4th down. Play calls or situations don't matter, just go for it. And they may even fail in that situation, but talent will excuse executive incompetence. The Cowboys should be wiping the floor with New England's remains. These aren't the Patriots of past years, they're mortal now. Yet for some insane reason, it's not only competitive, but New England is fighting for their lives. Neck and neck in a twisted duel of fate. The Patriots snagged the lead in the 4th quarter, but you can never count out Dallas. Not with their offensive talent. Cue Greg the leg after a long drive. That leg needs some tweaking, it keeps veering to the left. Looks like high-end talent will need to save them again.
Here I come to save the day.
Man, Trevon Diggs is so good. They found a gem in him. So how did the Cowboys screw this up?
Deep ball and somehow they blew the coverage.
What the hell was the safety doing on that play? I still don't trust the Patriots to hold on though, not with the Cowboys' talent on offense. Maybe they can get some luck? Not really. There were some big penalties on Dallas that took them back to their 45. But Dak flexed his elite coach carrying skills to get them back into range for Greg the leg.
Pick by Zerline. Good hook.
We're headed to overtime. New England gets the ball first and they stall out to punt. Bill, I'm usually the conservative type, but it's 4th and short at your 45 in overtime. You can't afford to give Dallas the ball back with their skill. And with the incredible powers of hindsight, the Cowboys' star power goes to work and gives Gillette Stadium a final air show to end it all.
Here I come to save the day.
This shouldn't have been close, but Dallas escapes with a victory thanks to the wonders of high-end talent. Be warned, though, you won't survive like this for long. Mike McCarthy is going to hold back this team. Celebrate for now, but Dallas can't dance like this all season. January is far more unforgiving. This week's festivities coincide with National Tight Ends Day. And we all know Belichick loves his tight ends, particularly the young quarterbacks on opposing teams. With his cunning and brute force, he will turn them all into wide receivers. The New York Jets are the poor girl in the street corner. They're just fucked. Doesn't matter by how or who. It's pure raw dogging by some sick fuck hanging out by a park bench drinking out of a paper bag. All for a few measly cents to hopefully have a place to sleep for the night. It's a tragic existence, but it's their own damn fault for it. Years of self-destructive behavior have made the Jets into the Jets. No matter what they get their hands on, they will ruin. And this includes Zach Wilson. Their first great success in years. Setting the land speed record for killing a top prospect. I knew Wilson was a dead man walking here, but it's not even November. How the hell did they do that? Another victim of Belichick's human trafficking scheme at Foxborough. Can someone find emails of Woody Johnson saying Roger Goodell's a bitch? It's the only way he's gonna be forced to leave. Seems to be a lesser-known tradition of Bill Belichick that he delightfully enjoys. It's a rare delicacy, but it's one he relishes every time he can. Ending the foolish hopes and dreams of the Chargers. Especially when he's in California, he'll do whatever it takes to fulfill his ambitions. On paper, especially with the talent LA has, you'd expect that the Patriots would be competitive but lose relatively easily. But we are foolishly mistaken. This game is very close. New England is keeping pace with the Chargers, and it isn't due to any trickery or gimmicks, but with traditional, well-coached football. Disciplined and steadfast, the core tenets of a Belichick outfit. They need to prove to the world they aren't dead yet. And I think I have an idea how they're gonna do it.
Third down and 9. Herbert. Intercepted! Picked off!
Deceiving your opponent into a false sense of security and then striking while their guard is down. Very Belichickian. Maybe he hasn't lost it yet. This decisive win might prove it. Bill Belichick heard all of the narratives. He's washed, he fell off, he's nothing without Tom Brady, the Patriots are done. A good chunk of the NFL media and fan world ratioed him to hell and back over the past year. But he will have the last laugh. No matter what happens, you never doubt the hoodie's dark magic. The Carolina Panthers may be bringing Christian McCaffrey back from injury, but he will be neutralized by an increasingly stout New England defense. Nothing makes Belichick smile with more glee than seeing Sam Darnold in his sights. It doesn't matter if he's no longer in division, he will make him see ghosts. The Patriots will give the entire Carolina squad fits. An easy victory is their reward for efficient and some say dirty play, but don't look too closely, or else you'll see that New England can almost taste the division lead. Just like episode 9, the Emperor will not die. We didn't kill him hard enough. When you think things somehow can't get worse for Cleveland, they do. The sad part is that a good chunk of it isn't their fault. And a majority of their running back core took turns with Corona-chan, with rampant injuries destroying the team identity. As Baker Mayfield turns into a freak science experiment that won't get the hell off my television, they are the animal near death on the side of the road after being hit by a car. This team will be easy prey for anyone that stumbles upon their living flesh. Oh, look at what the Patriots found. A perfect meal for a hungry team. Cleveland was eaten alive, their guts consumed as they writhe in pain. Bill Belichick would make sure of it in all aspects. And when things somehow couldn't get worse, Baker Mayfield went down with a knee injury. What did you expect, a break? New England will treat them like they're the Jets. Right under our noses, the Patriots have won 4 straight and are now in position for a playoff push. Narratives be damned, the hoodie's back. Tom Brady, eat your heart out. Have you ever seen those nature documentaries where a cheetah or leopard toys with its prey before they make it their final meal? A sick pleasure in torturing the poor bastard pissing itself. I should put on a really shitty Richard Attenborough impression for this segment. It's about as much of an effort as the Falcon offense made. I cannot exaggerate how dominant the Patriots were. Atlanta didn't just get shut out. They couldn't get over 100 yards of total offense until the end of the third quarter. Don't be mistaken, this was not a repeat of 28-3. That would imply the Falcons put up any sort of fight. For the second time in 5 days, Matt Ryan is left to die, players seemingly give up, and their opponents look like contenders. Although the Patriots have looked really damn good as of late. If their offense wasn't carrying around Josh McDaniels to relevance, the game would have been uglier. Dread it, run from it. The destiny of New England arrives all the same. The hoodie is inevitable. Bill Belichick is nowhere near close to finished on his revenge tour. No one will be taken prisoner. No one will be shown mercy. All that matters is that those that doubted his power will be undone. How about Tennessee, the precious #1 seed of the AFC? The team injured to hell that's overcome all obstacles? Now there's a good target to make another statement. In the foreboding cathedral of Gillette Stadium, the Patriots systematically dismantled and devoured a once proud organization. The Titans are burning through players like they're firewood, but there is no injury that New England will not capitalize on. They can try and fight all they can, but the hoodie will always remain one step ahead. His unit is well trained and optimized for hunting. Tennessee will be their next mantle decoration no matter what. With this convincing win, the streak of consecutive victims is now at 6. And with the Titans' loss, we also have a new #1 seed in the AFC. Baltimore? Really? Interesting. There are few reasons for anyone to want to go back to 2020, but for the NFL, it's because New England was irrelevant that year. Buffalo is in a critical situation to retain a hold on the AFC East, but it will be a challenge. Out of the 4 major elements, one will play a major role in this soiree. The win. Kicking field goals on one end is all but impossible, with it blowing at 25 to 35 miles per hour and gusts equaling the speed limit on major highways. In response, the Patriots took it old school with the offense, going back in time to the 1920s. Enough goddamn running to make a marathon seem like a short jog. Mac Jones's arm could have taken out a lawn chair and read Machiavelli for about 55 minutes. He only threw one time until a rebellious 2 passes on one drive deep in the 4th. Whoa, someone call Paul Brown, we have a revolutionary game plan in our midst. The thing is that the endless rushing worked. New England didn't have to change up their game plan because Buffalo's attack was stymied by both the wins and the Patriots' rejuvenated defense. It's a statement all its own. You can flex your mafia all you want, but Bill Belichick owns you. He's won 19 times in their stadium, so you might as well get cozy in the dungeon. Especially as Josh Allen can't throw accurately in these wins and Tyler Bass got trolled by the gods themselves on a fucking chip shot. If they make that field goal, none of the agony happens. Josh Allen doesn't have to try and fail to play God because they're down by 4. The Patriots don't make stop after stop in the red zone, and Buffalo isn't humiliated in the ugliest game of the season. Bill Belichick proved that you could turtle the entire team for most of a game and still end up winning. Buffalo isn't the new king of the East. They simply kept it warm for New England, who, oh god, are the new #1 seed in the AFC with a 7-game winning streak. Everything is proceeding as he has foreseen. May the Lord have mercy on us all. We can all agree this year has been insanely fucked for the NFL. Most games like the last one we recap feel like they're on some kind of drug cocktail. It's exhausting to follow this league some weeks. The only benefit is in memes fresh out of the oven. You thought it couldn't get worse. An old friend has reemerged onto the scene. Corona-chan is back from her lengthy vacation and wreaking havoc on every sports league throughout America. The NFL has felt her wrath hard. You may have noticed all the coughing last week. It was for good reason. Over 150 cases in the league over a 5-day span. It's not Pokemon to catch. Coronavirus is running a train throughout multiple organizations. Cleveland and the Rams have over 25 players in COVID protocol. Washington has over 20. Other teams like the Bears, Texans, and Lions are getting wrecked as well. 8 teams are in enhanced COVID protocols. This is the worst case scenario we were fearing last season, and we're seeing it happen in front of our eyes. The NFLPA pleaded with the league for games to be postponed, but of course they waited until the last moment. In a shocker, the Shield cared more about game integrity than cold hard cash. The Saturday Browns and Raiders tilt has been pushed to Monday. Seahawks versus Rams and Reskins versus Eagles have been rescheduled for Tuesday. We have it again in doubleheader form, boys! Tuesday night football! Any chance we can get a Wednesday night game? For all the glorious memes? Words can't describe how badly Indianapolis needs to win one of these next 2 games. They have the Raiders and Jags to win the year, but I don't know if 9 wins is going to be enough to secure a playoff berth. The Colts need to take out another legitimate opponent. If you were to answer that victim would be one of the hottest teams in football and the #1 seed in the AFC, I'd have laughed hysterically. Then I quickly remembered that the NFL this season is the Chewbacca defense. Nothing makes any goddamn sense. A team riding great momentum like the Patriots will look as shitty as they did when owned by Victor Kayam against Indy. It's probably one of the more complete games that the Colts have played this entire season. And this is also in consideration of Carson Wentz's right arm drinking daiquiris for most of the game. They had us remember that Mac Jones is al dente as a rookie. That's hard to do. I know something is to be said about New England nearly coming back, but then Jonathan Taylor had enough of the bullshit and carried the team for 67 yards. Let's put it this way. With victory here and their soft schedule, the Colts control their own destiny for playoffs. If they're lucky, division title. They've got their form back. Somewhere in Philly, Howie Roseman is distraught. Buffalo headed into New England's hallowed Death Star in a do-or-die situation. It's not as if it's an impossible task, is it? Not with COVID wrecking both sides with relentless haste, but this game is insanely critical for the Bills. And they'll need the efforts they were advertised to have before the year to have any chance of winning. Buffalo will need their elite defense to clamp down on their opposition by any means necessary. They're going to need more than a one-dimensional offensive game. Most critically, they'll need Josh Allen to transcend time and space to finish the objective. In their greatest hour of need, all 3 of these facets answered the call. Well, 2.5 of them. The offense is still solely predicated on Josh Allen, but he had quite possibly the game of his life. without a good chunk of his receiving core. To complement his elite play, the defense would do the rest and shut down a resurgent Patriots squad in their own home. A vital season-changing win is their reward. Not only are their playoff hopes alive, but they also regain the AFC East division lead. And they now hold tiebreaker over New England. They once again control their own destiny. And it's the best case scenario for a team that struggled in too many spots. The day has been won, but the war is still being fought. For now though, rest. The Bills have more than earned it. The funny thing is that less than 5 years ago, these two teams met in Foxborough for an AFC championship game. This time around, all we're asking is this question. How did Jacksonville fluke their way into that season? The Jags are in complete freefall, and this match was merely reinforcement of it. Bill Belichick loves him some jailbaited QB. He's a sick fuck, and he'll have his defense do vile, disgusting things to Trevor Lawrence. He'll do it to the entire Jacksonville franchise. Someone put this man on a sex offender list. He's violating the Jags in every orifice. The worst part is that Jacksonville's just sitting there and taking it. Emotionless. They're already suffering from extreme pain. All signs are pointing to them keeping Trent Baalke as GM because... what, does he make a good mac and cheese? It certainly isn't his illustrious record of player management, I'll tell you that. Jacksonville's run by clowns, we all knew this. Patriots, this beatdown is ugly enough. Take your playoff berth and prepare yourselves for Miami. In this final week, the Patriots must traverse deep into the jungles for a chance at a home playoff game. They journey to a horrible land they call Miami. It's a place that has been kryptonite for New England. No matter what they do, they always seem to lose down there. Lo and behold, the Patriots struggle to maintain any sort of form and are cannibalized by local tribesmen. I feel like I'm merely replaying old seasons, since they were quite sloppy against the Dolphins. Stop me if you've heard that one before. Miami gets out to a convincing lead early and never lets it go. Despite a rough start that'll have them kicking, the Dolphins finish strong by winning 8 of 9. I have a question. Will the real New England please stand up? They've had some serious struggles against teams not named Jacksonville these past few weeks. And this loss merely reinforces those narratives. They have a rematch of destiny back in Buffalo. And they better hope that the winds are gusting up to 50 miles per hour again. For Bill's sake. This has been a season. So many twists and turns that it's hard to conceive with the naked eye. If you were looking at this year seriously, it was absolutely exhausting. But do you know the true bounty to cherish? The memes. It was fucking gold for this economy. Thanks to incredible collapses, fantastic comebacks, Urban Meyer's coaching tenure, and whatever the fuck Antonio Brown did in the Jets game. If the bigger games are going to be as fucked as the regular season is, I expect plenty of shenanigans to come in the future. Get ready. The NFL playoffs are about to begin. Oh, you're back. I thought we had you buried in a concrete casket last season. We did the whole 15 stakes in the heart, sever the head, and salt the earth so nothing grows again routine. Yet, like a certain series brought back from the dead for money, our hopes and dreams will be violated by a hoodie and his endless plot holes. Mac Jones has become their new apprentice / fanfic self-insert. He, along with his band of highly paid and very effective mercenaries, have brought New England back from the doldrums. The rest of us groan and tremble in fear. But like the Death Star, there are weaknesses and ventilation shafts to exploit. The Patriots' offense has been sluggish for the past month. They've lacked the discipline to execute their opponents. Mac Jones has been looking more and more like a rookie. Don't ask them to play from behind either. They're not a fan of anal. This is not to dismiss them, you never count out the hoodie. But we know what to do, like with any other upstart wildcard team. Finish them off. The gods will hopefully not have fluke weather circumstances aid them this time around. Help us, Buffalo. You're our only hope. Have you ever seen those movies where the once bullied kid comes back fucking jacked to beat up the old bully who peaked in high school? You don't have to. It played out live in Buffalo. What I saw was 20 years of pent-up aggression and resentment unleashed in a fury that hell would consider excessive. Buffalo dragged New England tied to the back of their car down 90, going 90. I cannot do this complete disintegration justice. The Bills were so relentless they set records. They scored a touchdown on every single drive they had. Their punter had a daiquiri and a Kindle in hand for most of the game. Bill Belichick's defense was gashed in the worst ways his coaching career has ever seen. The offense obviously couldn't keep up. As the rest of us cheer in unison, we simply hope that Mac Jones doesn't use this as his ascension to evil arc and continue Patriot insufferability. With New England, you can't rule anything out. For one day, however, we simply feel relief. God bless the Bills.